Welcome back to XDebrief, the place for XDefiant news and deep dives. I'm your host, Yusuf Garcia Magid, here with your Season 1 mid-season update. Now, we know many of you are eagerly anticipating updates on ranked mode, so we're going to dive deep into all of the changes coming now and down the road. Then, we'll give you a preview of the upcoming Daytona Map before we check in with community developer Zach Paget, who will answer some of your most pressing questions. Be sure to stick around for that because we're also giving away an exclusive in-game item for free. But right now, let's jump into those ranked updates. Here's systems designer, Pat Price.
Hey everybody, it's Pat Price, systems designer on XDefiant. Back again on XDebrief to go over some substantial updates for Ranked. I want to emphasize how much of a priority Ranked is for our game. It's also near and dear to me with my competitive background. Ranked will serve as an early foundation for competitive XDefiant, but also where anyone and everyone can play competitive matches for fun and gain some cool rewards along the way. With that being said, we realized the state at which Ranked launched in Season 1 was unacceptable to our standards, and we failed to meet your expectations as players. There were bugs that slipped through, some things we didn't see until we were live, and a handful of features we knew we wanted but failed to get out by launch. We appreciate the passionate feedback we've received across the board, and our goal is to earn your trust back so that all you need to worry about is going after those wins. And we feel that tomorrow is a great time to try Ranked again. So today, I want to go over what we fixed already, what's coming tomorrow, what else we're planning for Season 1, and an early insight into some big features coming in Season 2. Let's start with what we fixed already. The infamous 0 RP bug, which didn't give players their RP after winning a match when they were dead and the game ended. That's been fixed. The Charlie 01 errors, either during map voting or in the middle of the game. We identified and resolved a large majority of these cases and will continue to monitor these occurrences until they're gone. Now, let's talk about what's new in our Season 1.3 update. We've heard you and we completely agree. It is not okay for ranked games to begin when there are not 8 players present. So we've created what we call a match cancellation event. Once the lobby is created, we will check for the number of players during map voting, then again when the game loads in the faction and loadout selection, all the way up until the game clock is started. If at any point during these 3 states, a player disconnects, leaves, or is removed from the match, we will cancel the game entirely and send all remaining players back to the ranked menu with no sanctions or RP loss. To be clear though, the player or players who leave or disconnect to trigger this event will still receive the penalty for quitting. So stay in your game and don't ruin it for everyone else. I do want to emphasize that this will not impact players quitting in the middle of a game, but I want to remind everybody that if you're on a team that loses a player, you will lose a discounted amount of RP. Or if the imbalance is great enough, complete loss forgiveness will trigger and you won't lose any RP at all. Another big addition coming tomorrow is Ranked Capture the Flag. Like our other arena modes, Ranked CTF will have slightly different rules. If you're familiar with Ranked Domination, this should be very familiar to you. Instead of one side and the first team to 4 captures, in Ranked, you will play 2 5-minute halves and switch sides at halftime. The winner will be decided by the team with the most captures at the end of the game. Coming shortly after our 1.3 update, we have a handful of server changes for Ranked matchmaking. First, we're limiting the maximum allowed ping to 125. We saw unintended cross-region games, and where it can be interesting to play people across the world, it is not in the best interest of fairness and integrity for Ranked. Input priority. We know this is a divisive topic, and we are doing everything we can to find a middle ground. Similar to our RP ranges expanding over time, we are now going to exclusively matchmake you with the same input type in that first matchmaking wave. After the expired time, when we expand the search to more players, we will then allow you to matchmake with all inputs to ensure you're finding games in a reasonable amount of time. Input-based matchmaking works well in unranked, when you can play anyone. But in ranked, that number of players reduces very quickly as you progress. So for the health of ranked and the fairness for everyone long term, it's important that we explore this now. Updating our RP ranges for matchmaking search. Currently, these can expand to a maximum of 15 levels. We realized that this was a bit too strict in some cases, so we're going to expand this out to 30 for most rank. However, this will be over a lengthier period of time. This way, fair matches are still the highest priority, but in lower population hours, players can still find games. Our low ranks will not be impacted. These matchmaking updates will all be noticeable quality of life improvements for rank, but we're not stopping there. Let's talk a bit about what else you can expect later in Season 1. Faction skill restriction. We've talked about this a lot, and it's fairly straightforward. This has always been the intention for rank, but I want to reiterate that once in the faction selection screen, only one player can choose any given ability. It will then be locked out for the rest of the team unless that player makes an ability change. Additional penalties for quitters. This will include progressive matchmaking bans and increasing the RP penalty. We've always intended to penalize players for quitting ranked games, but we had to be sure we weren't penalizing players who were disconnected at no fault of their own. Once we're confident these errors have been resolved, we will enable our time-based matchmaking bans for those quitting ranked games. In the meantime, though, we are going to increase the RP penalty loss from 40 to 50 RP. An update to our RP calculation. We realize that rank progression is a bit slower than intended, but we're looking at adjusting our RP formula to ensure you're getting a bit more RP gain in your win. Party averaging RP in their matchmaking search. On the last episode of XDebrief, I mentioned that parties will be matchmaking based off their average RP. However, we recently discovered that it's not working as intended, and we'll be rolling out a fix for this in a future update. Now that we've discussed everything coming to rank tomorrow and in Season 1, I want to give some insight into what's on the menu for Season 2. Top 500 in-game leaderboard. We want to showcase our most dedicated players for everyone to see. Once enabled, the leaderboard will track all 500 players at the top of the ranks throughout the whole season. You will be able to see their placement and the amount of RP they currently have. This will also showcase some of their best stats, their win-loss ratio, their kill-death ratio, their score per minute, and the total amount of MVPs they've gained so far in that season. Ranked loadouts will be a completely separate set of loadouts from unranked, and everything will be unlocked for use. However, for any weapon that you have not yet unlocked, you will not gain any weapon XP. So, if you're jumping into ranked, but worried you haven't leveled up your favorite gun for those attachments, don't worry, we got you. This will also give us the ability to restrict items from ranked loadouts if needed. We aren't ready to do so just yet, but wanted to give you an early insight of things we're keeping an eye on. Rejoin. Has your dog ever unplugged your Ethernet? Don't worry, we've all been there. Rejoin was made so that if you've ever unintentionally disconnected, you can get back in your ongoing ranked game to not only avoid penalty, but attempt to save you and your teammates RP. Progressive RP penalties for quitters. Like our time-based matchmaking bans, we intend to progressively reduce the RP for players that are quitting. More on this soon. With tomorrow's Season 1.3 patch, there's never been a better time to jump back in. Ranked is extremely important, and with all the new changes and adjustments coming throughout Season 1, we want to prove that. As always, we're looking for your feedback to continue to make Ranked a great place for competitive XDefiant. I know I'll be grinding, so I'll see you in game.
Thanks so much, Pat, for all of those ranked updates. Season 1 launched with the inclusion of our first new map, Clubhouse. And today, we're super excited to give you a preview of our next map, Daytona. Here's XDefiant producer Layla Lacombe with a first look.
It's race day! Start your engines, everybody, and welcome to Daytona. Hi folks, my name is Layla, and I am the Global Maps producer at Ubisoft San Francisco, supervising all of our incredible map teams as they work to bring your favorite Ubisoft franchises to XDefiant. As you can see, we're talking cars today. We're excited to introduce you to Daytona, made by our partners at Ubisoft Annecy in close collaboration with the creators of the crew themselves, Ivory Tower. This brand new linear map, where you'll play escort and zone control, was a great chance for our map teams to give this iconic raceway the XDefiant treatment. The crew is known for its expansive environment and wide range of beautiful and customizable vehicles. It's also a driving game, which is not what XDefiant is, but that's what makes it an even more exciting opportunity for our designers. To put things into perspective, we took the raceway and turned it into a vibrant auto expo set on a portion of the track with Daytona Beach as the backdrop. You'll be running in and out of the garage and auto shops, checking out the beautiful cars, and racing your way towards the podium. We designed this map with a tight center lane to make attacking on Escort a risky situation. Having fewer places to hide in the center means you need to have some good team synergy with abilities and positioning to protect yourself from enemy fire. Defenders can make use of sneaky flanking routes through the shops and showcase rooms to put pressure on the objectives. You'll generally find longer range encounters happening in the middle, with close quarters combat veering off into the side lanes. We originally explored cars racing along the track in the background, but decided early on that this would be too distracting. Can't keep your eyes off the objective for too long. This is a special map for us, because it's one of our first maps to draw inspiration from a Ubisoft game you might not expect. And you better believe we've got some more surprising crossovers up our sleeves for future seasons. Shout out again to the Ansi team and Ivory Tower for their help in bringing this map to life and for dropping in some Easter eggs. See if you can find them when you play your first match on Daytona.
Shout out to Layla for those expert insights on Daytona. Now, to wrap things up, we're going to toss things over to Zach Padgett, who's going to answer some of your most commonly asked questions.
Hey everyone, I'm Zach Padgett, the community developer on XDefiant. Let's jump into some of the community questions for XDebrief. Now, we got a lot of questions about ranked mode. We just had Pat go over the in and outs of what's coming up for ranked, so we won't cover that in more detail here. But if you have any lingering questions, please let us know and we'll answer it in the next XDebrief. Do you have any plans to add attachments in the future? Absolutely. We will have a new attachment in Season 2, and with every season, you can expect new attachments, new weapons, new factions, and more. Will we ever have the ability to change the HUD? Now, we've got a lot of interesting questions about this, and it's something we are definitely interested in as well. We are looking into ways that the HUD will become customizable in the future. How do weapons get nerfed and buffed? That's a great question. So what we do is we look across social media channels to gather all the data and feedback and comments that all of you are leaving. We take that information and we combine it with our in-game data. That's the type of data that shows us how these weapons are performing within the game. Combining all of this data together, we are able to make a design decision to make the game as healthy as it can be in the future. Are there any updates coming to anti-cheat? Let's talk about anti-cheat. We have been keeping an ever-vigilant watch against all of the reports coming in. Yes, we read all of them, both in-game and across social media. We look at these reports and we take sanctions and ban people when we can. Past that, we are also making changes to our game that make it harder for the cheats to work. You just saw in our latest patch where we are stopping people from being able to speed around the map. That's just one of the updates we have coming to the game. We don't want to spoil all the secrets because we don't want to help the cheat makers, but know that every day we are trying to make it harder for cheats to work in our game. We've banned over 12,000 players already, and we're going to continue to keep banning anyone that wants to ruin the experience for other players. Will there be a 24/7 playlist when maps are launched? Of course. We recently just had our first 24/7 playlist, Clubhouse, and we think it was a great success. So in the future, starting on August 2nd with Daytona, you will have a 24/7 playlist for any time a new map is launched. What about other updates? Of course, we just answered a bunch of questions in our last XDebrief, and so not to repeat myself, here they are on the screen. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and for all the questions you've submitted. Please continue to submit us questions in our Discord, and we can't wait to answer them. Now, let's watch some of those great community moments you've sent to us via clips, and we'll see you in September in our next XDebrief.